Spiritual Teaching 207. Love one another. 1. Blessed are you because you no longer need symbolic figures to feel my presence. You are now beginning to progress along the path of spirituality. 2. Although life offers you a vast field of opportunities to analyze my teachings, your life on earth is not long enough to comprehend all of them. 3. You now perceive things differently after having listened to my teachings. The veil which had covered your eyes has been removed and you can no longer close them. Who, having perceived the light, would want to remain in the darkness? 4. You are no longer able to suppress the admiration, gratitude, and love that you feel for me. You demonstrate that love in your spiritual prayers and in your deeds. You no longer pray as you did in the past, with repetitive and eloquent words that you were unable to comprehend or feel in your heart. You lack spirituality, thus you could not communicate with God. 5. Today, you feel a deep compassion and love for your brother as you observe his suffering and misery. Those feelings best express your desire for the well-being of your brother. 6. Long ago you constructed a temple in order to worship yourself. You admired yourself, recognizing the power and dominance that you could exert over other beings. You loved yourself, believing that you were strong and powerful. 7. I have come to eliminate your pride and to make you humble and aware of the insignificance of your material body. I have said to you that you possess a spirit. That is where your true value and strength lies, although you should not become vain for that reason. The greatness of your spirit is unlike that greatness that your material body feels. Since your spirit is a part of God, it is superior to all material things. Man is truly great because I have endowed him with a spirit. However, you need to be careful not to darken the light of your spirit. You also need to help your spirit to evolve along its path of evolution. 8. In the past, when low passions dominated your life, your spirit felt that it was oppressed and in chains. You are now learning to dominate those passions because there is no place for pride, vanity, or hatred in the hearts of my disciples. Your spirit is now beginning to influence your deeds, thoughts, and steps that you take. You have voluntarily chosen to allow your spirit to guide you so you can correct your past mistakes. 9. Your spirit will become stronger as it practices deeds of virtue. If it continues to practice those deeds on earth, it will attain a high level of spiritual elevation. Thus, when it departs from earth, it will enter into elevated spiritual mansions, having eliminated all of its pride and miseries. 10. The one who arrives into elevated spiritual mansions with humility and spiritual elevation will not be able to forget those who remained on earth and who are in need. Thus, he will spiritually help and protect those who are weak, ill, and lost. 11. Develop your spiritual gifts by practicing deeds of love. And truly I say to you, if you prepare yourself spiritually, you will be able to detain the disasters, plagues, and illnesses that occur on earth. Do not become vain for that reason, because those accomplishments will not take place due to your own physical strength, but rather through the Spirit, who is strong because of its humility. 12. Be one with me, and listen to my word. 13. The world needs salvation. It needs men of goodwill to arise and to work on behalf of my doctrine. 14. Today, man lacks true understanding of spirituality. 15. Those who have spiritually awakened by having listened to my word are very few in comparison to those who are unaware of my manifestation. There are some who intuitively feel the closeness and the presence of spiritual things. 16. Mankind needs guidance and help. That guidance and help will be provided by my new disciples who, enduring great ordeals, will offer spiritual knowledge to their brethren and save those who are lost. 17. A time of great ordeals and battles is approaching. I have prepared you so that you will have the strength and courage to observe all that I have announced. During those ordeals, man will eventually comprehend why nations are in war and why there is disagreement among the different religions. He will realize that it is because man has failed to comprehend and to follow the teachings of Christ. If man were to follow those teachings, the world would be a place of joy and peace. However, man practices vanity instead of love, and thus he is unable to think clearly and to practice deeds of spirituality. Because of man's vanity, the spirit is unable to triumph over the stubbornness of the flesh and manifest itself. 18. Today, instead of eliminating the misery that exists everywhere, man selfishly attempts to use it to his benefit. Why hasn't man sought ideals that help him to elevate his emotions and pursue goals that are worthy of his spirit? It is because man has not wanted to perceive beyond his physical needs, that is to say, beyond his miseries, his earthly pleasures, and his material science. He dedicates his time on earth to accumulating riches and seeking pleasures, believing that, once he dies, he will cease to exist. Because of his ignorance and pride, man has descended to an inferior level, instead of spiritually elevating himself and perceiving himself as a child of God. When his conscience speaks to him about God and about spiritual life, he is overwhelmed by his fear of God's justice. Thus, he prefers to ignore the voice of his conscience and to disregard its warnings. He truly does not understand the purpose of his existence on earth, nor is he aware of his spiritual and physical situation. How can he cease to feel inferior and miserable if he continues to live and to think as he does? 19. That is why I have come to give you my teachings. Those listening to me have developed a different understanding about the superior life of the Spirit. One can begin to live that life while he is on earth, becoming aware that he possesses my divine grace. 20. God is the law and force that governs everything. His power and wisdom are manifested throughout nature, which reflects his perfection. Humanity needs to recognize and to appreciate the greatness of the Divine Father. It needs to realize that a material image is not needed to worship the Father, and that his presence is manifested throughout all of nature. Once humanity truly comprehends this, it can then follow the true path and will be able to perceive the power and wisdom of God throughout creation. Those who are receiving my teaching are becoming spiritualized because they are acquiring new wisdom and knowledge. They are no longer spiritually blind, for they are now able to perceive, to analyze, and to comprehend my teachings. 21. But truly I tell you, what you have now learned is not sufficient for you to comprehend other things that I will reveal to you. You still have a long road to travel. However, I say to you that you do not want to remain spiritually blind when you are beginning to comprehend spirituality. Whoever listens to these divine teachings will no longer be able to ignore my inspiration, nor will he stop praising the Lord. 22. You are now able to pray from your heart. Previously, your prayers consisted of words that you had memorized and learned from books. Today, your prayer has no limit, because when you have faith and elevate yourself in prayer, you feel that you are truly near those for whom you pray. Thus, you no longer pray using repetitive and memorized words. Today, your prayers are spiritual and full of inspiration. You no longer find it necessary to sing songs praising God, but now choose to offer testimony of God's kindness by the way you live. 23. Carefully examine yourself, and when you have discovered your mistakes, correct them. Be encouraged, realizing that eventually you will return to the Father to dwell in the kingdom of heaven. Make a true effort to battle against your weaknesses. Demonstrate that your spiritual nature is superior, and that you are able to triumph over your low passions and evil tendencies. 24. In the past, you had erected a temple to worship yourself, believing that you were eternal, strong, and powerful. You live to satisfy only your physical needs. However, once you truly comprehend the differences between spiritual and material things, you will no longer do that. 25. Knowing that you possess spiritual strength and greatness should not make you vain, because spiritual greatness differs greatly from material greatness. 26. The Spirit is a spark of light, a seed of love and life. 27. Behold the wrong path through which you traveled when you sought material greatness and desired only material things. 28. You are now beginning to comprehend spirituality. Thus, when it is time for you to depart from earth, your spirit will have attained enlightenment, knowledge, and grace. 29. Are you aware of the era in which you now live? 30. Pray, so that you may help the leaders from different nations to unite and to solve the conflicts that exist between different countries. Do you believe that each ruler has a different solution for the struggles that exist? No, my people, they are only deceiving themselves. The conscience of each ruler proposed is the same solution. However, due to their selfish and material interests, they all disregard the voice of their conscience. All conflicts have a simple solution. The world would be in a state of peace if only men would obey their conscience. Those who govern different nations, instead of thinking of their own greatness, should consider the well-being of everyone. However, they fail to do that. Men distrust one another and are always ready to battle. 31. Once again I say to you, once the world follows my path and practices my doctrine, it will solve its problems and live in peace. 32. My universal ray today descends upon your spirit to nourish you with the bread of eternal life. It is my voice that summons you. Among this multitude are those who have recently arrived to witness my teachings, and I invite them to enjoy my word. Some who arrive are humble, others are unbelievers, idolaters, and hypocrites. They doubt my presence and inwardly ridicule my teaching, because they believe that it is impossible for the Creator to communicate through human spokesmen. 33. If it were not God who is now manifesting himself, I would not be offering the evidence that I now offer you, or would I be teaching you the path of virtue. The one who does not believe in my manifestation doesn't, because he has failed to meditate, to open his heart, and to leave his state of darkness. 34. I say to you, I am the true God, the Father, the life, and the light. I have come to communicate in this manner to help you eliminate your disobedience, mistakes, and low passions that have prevented you from comprehending and analyzing the truth. 35. I have not come to denounce you in the presence of others, for I have invited you to come to my banquet. I will speak to your spirit and through your conscience, so that it will feel me and will thus awaken. 36. I am the same Christ whom you condemned in the second era, and I have designated the beginning and the end of each era. 37. During the second era you crucified me on a cross. I shed my blood because of the great love that I have for you, although you were well aware of what you did when you crucified the Messiah. I, nonetheless, said that you were innocent and unaware of what you had done. I left 12 disciples to guide you and care for you. Those disciples imitated the divine master and spread my doctrine among humanity. 38. Among this multitude who is witnessing my manifestation are those who in the second era shouted the following: Crucify him. He is a sorcerer. Thus, they rejected the blessings that I brought to mankind. 39. Time has passed, and through my will, your spirit has reincarnated on earth to come listen to the divine word. Although I now manifest myself in a different form, my teachings are still filled with love and life. 40. I am here with you. I am touching your heart so that you may offer me shelter. I have come seeking your spirit, whom I greatly love, because it has become a slave to sin, and its light has become darkened. 41. Although you have developed intellectually, your love for your brethren has not evolved. It has failed to evolve because you are materialistic and are interested in satisfying only your needs. 42. You forget about the eternal life of the Spirit and believe that you are gods on earth. You doubt my existence and my justice because you observe that I do not prevent the shedding of blood among humanity. You fail to understand that I am a relentless judge, and that I allow man to amend his sins and to purify himself through suffering and pain. 43. Open your heart. Elevate your spirit. Allow your spirit to inform you that the voice you are listening to is the same one that has always spoken to you of love, charity, and perfection. The third era has surprised you. You should no longer want to perceive me in human form as you did in the second era. Remember that I previously told you that I would come again upon a cloud. My divine spirit descends from the heavens to communicate with you through human spokesmen. Thus, my voice is heard on earth even though this world is filled with sin. 44. You are not the only ones who are listening to my word. I, the divine word, pour my light throughout the universe. However, if you were to ask others whether they have heard a voice speaking to them from the heavens, they would say no. Why does this occur? It is because humanity is deaf as it journeys through life. It is not only surrounded by sin and fanaticism, but also people do not listen to their conscience. 45. I have given you my word since 1866. My teachings offer salvation to your spirit and point out the path to attain perfect peace in the universe. 46. I have assigned a delicate mission to your spirit to settle its debt with the Lord. I am cutting the bad weeds and tying them into bundles. I will then throw them into the fire until they become ashes. At the end, my light will shine, and my doctrine will be acknowledged throughout the world. 47. Man will create new doctrines and laws, according to the will of God. Thus there will be peace, harmony, and brotherhood on earth. Human hatred will disappear, and human beings will no longer murder one another. Before all this takes place, I will purify man. Some will perceive the fulfillment of these prophecies after they enter into the spiritual mansion, whereas those who remain on earth will give testimony to the new generations after 1950. 48. My people, I have designated only one path for you to reach me. It is a path that is filled with light, life, and prayer. It is the Spirit's path. You will not get lost by traveling through that path. If you are now following it, offer testimony of my revelations and of my doctrine of spirituality to your brethren. Teach them how to communicate with me through the perfect spiritual prayer. 49. Remember, my people, the example of prayer that I gave in the Mount of Olives. When I asked the Father to forgive humanity, Jesus knelt before the celestial Father, not in front of an image. I then elevated my prayer toward the heavens, the same prayer that I left for humanity. 50. Once again I offer you my charity and embrace you with love. Disciples, beginning students, and those who journey through life. On this day of grace, the Divine Master's voice descends to caress you. I do not present myself as a harsh judge, but as a just Father. I have come to guide you with my teachings so that you will follow my path, a path from which you had separated. 51. All of you are my soldiers. I observe that some of you have failed to fulfill your mission, while others have succeeded, and yet others are in the process of succeeding and are singing a hymn of victory. You are in the midst of that struggle and do not know the outcome. Today, you are unfamiliar with the fields where you will need to sow my seed. Although they are large fields, you possess an abundance of seed to sow. 52. Whereas some remain strong and obedient in fulfilling their mission, others become wary and lose interest, both knowing that the Lord is aware of everything that they do. Be aware that you are allowing precious time to go by, and that tomorrow you will no longer be on earth. Your spirit will experience great sadness because you did not want to listen to my word. It will yearn to listen to me, as in this period. But instead it will only be able to listen to the harsh voice of its conscience, experiencing great remorse. That is why I tell you to listen to my teachings today, and do not ignore my mandates. Take the essence from this teaching, because I will hold you accountable for fulfilling its mandates. 53. This multitude, now witnessing this manifestation, is unable to comprehend the greatness of this teaching due to its sins and suffering. 54. This teaching gives life to your spirit and will heal all spirits that are ill and suffering. It is like a drizzle that falls upon dry fields. 55. If you have not yet gathered good fruits, ask your conscience why you have not. It will inform you that in order to harvest good fruit, it is necessary for you to work hard and to remain alert. Set good examples for others to follow, practice deeds of virtue, and use the spiritual gifts that your spirit possesses to help your brethren. Eliminate your evil passions and practice good deeds. Only then will you behave as true children of God and truly represent Him on earth. 56. I have given each of you the responsibility to inform others about the spiritualist Trinitarian Marian doctrine. Humanity will dispute about my doctrine, provoking a revolution of ideas among people. This doctrine will confuse those who neither understand its origin nor its purpose. 57. Those who are responsible for sowing my seed have failed to prepare themselves. Thus, they have not revealed my doctrine to others in its pure form, because they realize that they have combined their evil deeds in my work. Mankind will only be able to listen to my teachings for a brief period because this manifestation will soon come to an end. Thus, if you fail to prepare yourself, tomorrow you will experience sorrow and bitterness. But it will not be the Divine Father who will judge you. It will be your conscience. 58. You will be able to nourish yourself with these teachings for only a few more moments. Who will be with me when the year 1950 comes to an end? Who will present me a good harvest? 59. Humanity is in a deep sleep. It is awaiting your arrival so that you may resurrect it to life. You have not sought those who are spiritually dead because you lack confidence in me. Why do you fear men? Are you afraid of men's justice or death? I have already told you that I will free you from death. Remember that I have given you eternal life. 60. I have not gotten weary from speaking to you during this era, because I am the eternal Word. My word is helping those who are wicked and insensitive to become purifying and to change their ways. They will become virtuous human beings. 61. During this period of suffering and tragedy, I want you to imitate me. Trust me completely, and thus your brethren will get to know the greatness of spirituality. Do not doubt that you can imitate me. The weight of your cross is not superior to your strength. 62. My people, in exchange for the great ordeals, you have my teachings. You have been rejected by those close to you because you believe in this manifestation. Many of you were engaged in sinful pleasures which caused your spirit to weaken. Who came to separate you from that path? It was the Divine Father. You now understand the great love that I have for you. You thank me because you realize that in exchange for your rejection of sin, I have come to manifest myself and to give you my teachings. 63. You thought that no one knew your past. However, here I am, fully aware of what you have done throughout your life so that you will not doubt in my existence nor in my presence. 64. During this period, I have designated you to be my disciples, as I did with my apostles in the second era. 65. My word guides you through the path designated by Jesus. You have been journeying for a long time, but have not yet reached the end of a path. You are battling and struggling. and I will reward you once you have concluded your journey. I observe that some of you are still strong, but that others have become weary. I will give you opportunities to rest, so that you will meditate and regain your strength. For this is a precious time that no one should waste. 66. Do not disregard my mandates nor ignore my voice. Listen to this teaching and analyze its essence. Cleanse your mind and heart so that you may perceive its greatness. This teaching gives life to your spirit. I will water the barren fields on earth with this teaching. Also, this teaching represents the seed that you will take to humanity. If you have not been able to harvest good fruit after having sowed this seed, it is because the seed that you sowed was not pure. Sow seeds that are pure, and thus you will harvest good fruit. 67. Remove your fear of mankind from your heart, for this has always detained you from fulfilling your mission. Free your spirit from its sins and faults. Practice deeds of love so that your spirit will become enlightened. Thus, you will feel worthy of taking my law to your brethren. Tell mankind about my doctrine and let them carefully analyze it. Once they analyze it, they will realize that it has no beginning nor end. 68. My doctrine is so pure that you have no reason to hide nor to feel ashamed when you present it to your brethren. But if you ever feel ashamed, it is because you have added something impure to my doctrine or because you do not live according to what you teach. Frequently, you wish to remain unnoticed by others. However, that is not possible because I am sending you to share the good news with others through examples of love and kindness. 69. Humanity will discover that it has entered into a new era and will seek those who are able to tell it about these teachings. If you are unprepared and asleep when your brethren summon you, you will awaken with great pain. 70. This manifestation will soon end. Who will be with me once it finishes? Who will keep my law pure, in the manner that I brought it? 71. Behold that you need to arise with spiritual strength to fulfill your noble mission. You will not fear death, for I say to you that death will not touch you. However, you will need to triumph over the temptations of your flesh so that you will no longer stumble and fall. The good disciple needs to triumph over his own weaknesses, and thus set an example for others to follow. 72. Do you not observe the humility with which I speak? Truly I tell you that it is the same humility that I manifested in the second era when I limited myself in order to become human. I came to help man to elevate with my word and with my deeds, so that he could be similar to God. 73. Be my worker, and never become an obstacle for me to reach the human heart. Why do you doubt that you can imitate me? You have failed to understand my teachings. If you are my children, then you have inherited some of my traits of love and kindness. 74. You have come to earth from the spiritual mansion to seek the path outlined by the Divine Master. Seeking that path, you have experienced great ordeals. Now that I am manifesting myself during this era, you have disregarded everything to come listen to my teachings. Do you believe that I will not reward the sacrifices that you have made? Do not ever forget your destiny so that you will continually progress spiritually. 75. Be aware that you are not going to give me anything. Everything that you earn will be for yourself. 76. Why do I descend to the bottom of the abyss to save those who are there? It is because I love each one of you. 77. This doctrine outlines a true and quick path to return to your homeland. It is the doctrine of spirituality. If you understand it and practice it, your thoughts, words, and deeds will reflect great enlightenment. You do not need to say that you are a spiritualist, because if you truly are, there will be no need to say it. 78. Carefully meditate on these teachings that I have brought you. Tomorrow, you will need to share them with your brethren. My peace be with you.